Hello guys, and a big welcome to the first official Merchant Fly YouTube video. In this video I'm going to show you exactly how we scaled up Julia with literally zero experience from 0 to 40k revenue in euros within 1 month. So I made a full Miro how she got from 0 to 40k euros in revenue within 22 days. So let's dive in. So firstly, like I said, she had literally zero experience. She came to us, she just built her brand. To be honest, it was already very nice. So yeah, we started directly with the onboarding and go on from there. As you can see, this is literally what we did with her account. We started off on the 18th of April and on 10 May, she already made 40k euros in revenue in total with an average ROAS of 3.14. So it's crazy to imagine that whenever you have zero experience, but just build a nice store with the right guidance and the right media buying setup into the Google Ads, and you just literally scale to 40k revenue within the first month. Currently, she's doing between 5 and 6k pounds a day, so she's already doing more revenue, so yeah, she scales literally every day. Then the game plan. First, she had an idea. She would like to start with a dresses brand. She really likes dresses, and she also has an only women's store in the UK, so there was a crazy idea already, and she has really an eye for it, to be honest. After that, we started with the research, so she was checking for the right dresses, put them in a sheet, and afterwards, she uploaded them on her Shopify store. Afterwards, we started building the brand, adding the right elements, those kind of things. And after that, we made it fully compliant, because on Google, you have like the policies that you need to be compliant with. If you are not compliant, you will get a misrepresentation. So it was very nice. The store got live in the first time, so really happy to see it. Then the Google part. We started with a PMAX, just a standard PMAX, a feed only with 50 euros a day. We just had a discussion with her, what is your budget? And she would like to scale every time above the break-even ROAS. So as you can see, she started on the 18th of April already with some sales. So we started scaling after the first day already, scaled it day by day, and already did on the 28th of April. That's literally after 10 days, the first 1K day. So that's crazy to imagine. A couple of days later, we did a 2K day, and a couple of days later, we already did a 3K day. So that is really crazy. After the first 1K day, she started adding brand improvements. She started with the custom packaging, the custom thank you cards, the email flows, also the after sale. So it's very important to implement these things on your store whenever you would like to scale and increase your AOV. We are now on the part where we're just doing the campaign split. So we are starting with a heroes campaign, a losers campaign, and a zombie campaign, since he already has a lot of data. So we can use our own labelizer and just separate all the campaigns to make better profit with all of the data we have inside the campaigns. For now, we are scaling on the POAS. So what does it mean? The POAS is profit on ad spend. So we are not anymore scaling on the revenue, but just looking to the profit. And whenever she has the right profit of the day, what we discuss, we just scale it after. Because he scaled so hard, we didn't even have the time to implement a multi-feed. What is a multi-feed? A multi-feed is a feed that's implemented on different markets. So for example, she started in the UK, but now we are going to add the USA, Denmark, Netherlands, Belgium, France, and Germany. So whenever you have any proof of concept, you can just add a multi-feed on your store. Whenever you do, for example, 200 euros a day with a bad ROAS, it's not something like a way out, it's an extra benefit to your business to get more revenue. So whenever you don't do any revenue at all, it's not a quick fix to get some new revenue. Then some important things to know. The most important thing, especially with a PMAX in the beginning, is don't wait for days before you scale. Whenever you have some profit, some days above the break-even ROAS, and you keep waiting with scaling, you will lose your momentum. So that's very bad for your campaign. So whenever you have a day above the break-even, increase it at least with 20 or 30%. If you don't do that, like I said, you will lose the momentum. What our strategy is, whenever you have above a ROAS of 3, you can even double the budget, but it depends, of course, on your cash flow. Then the second thing, what is very important, you don't have to copy an existing brand. Just be unique. So for example, if you just copy the old money store, what a lot of people do, Aureline, those kind of things, it's fine to do, but you are not a unique brand. So people will always see on your store that you are like a copying thing. Whenever you have a unique brand, that will help a lot with increasing sales, because people know, like I said, you're unique, you're a new thing on Google, you're selling different things than other people. So it's very important to do that. Same thing with the layout, just use the color. And then you need to have a unique design. So your store doesn't have to be one-on-one another store. Like I said in the previous thing, you need to be unique, a unique layout, unique elements, and unique products. Then the last thing is very important, especially in the beginning when you're scaling hard. It's always impossible, but especially in the beginning, it's just a profit sheet. If you don't have a profit sheet, by the end of the month, you don't have any idea which kind of profit you can send to your private bank and which money you need to scale, to use for the supplier, those kind of things. So it's very hard to optimize and scale if you don't have a profit sheet. Then the right setup. Of course, it's Google Ads, the Google Merchant Center, and data tracking. I see a lot of accounts from people that come at me and say, can you help me because my ROAS is bad? For sure, I can help you out. But the thing is, whenever I see the data tracking that's connected, it's always lacking, it's always inconsistent, and it doesn't get the right data. That's necessary to optimize the campaigns. So whenever you have 50% of the actual data, you can scale for 100% since you're lacking in the data. So it's very important that this part is set up right. Of course, the Google Merchant Center and the compliance as well. If you have a lot of inconsistent things on your store, misleading things, you will get a misrepresentation. Then, her record days so far. On 10 May, she already did almost 4K in one day. That's around 4K euros in one day. And that's crazy to imagine, especially because this is after like 22 days. So it's a crazy journey, to be honest. Then 4 common mistakes that a lot of people make, and I always see people do these things, and that's only scaling on the front end. Of course, it's nice to make a lot of sale, but the profit is being made in the back end and not in the front end. So you can make a lot of revenue, of course, but yeah, if your back end is very bad, you will lose everything in the end. Then the second thing, if you steal everything from a competitor, then you can get not only a misrepresentation, but you're not unique. So it's very important to do everything unique and build your own brand. Then the third thing, I know it can be a shiny object to see a lot of revenue, but if you don't have the actual cash flow to scale very quick, then you will lose everything in the end since you will make big losses. Then the last thing is no labeling. If you just only scale on just one PMax and not just doing separate campaigns, then you will lose a lot of money in the end because if you're not optimizing with the right campaigns, then you can't see actually what your products are doing, what your variants are doing, and just set them in the right campaign to scale to the moon. So that was the case study of Sophia from literally 0 to 4K days in 22 days. I hope you enjoyed the case study and also learned a couple of things from it. If you run an actual brand, if you run a dropshipping store, it doesn't really matter. You can reach out to me and I will help you further. We can hop on a call, I can check your data, what you have already, and scale it to the moon as well. But for now, thank you for watching and I will see you in the next video.